during the formative stage of Islam, the women were actively involved. And this was carried over into Medina, where the Muslims were more secure, more powerful, more numerous, and more prestigious as a community. And in Medina, the Muslim women came to the mosque, something that many of us don't want to deal with today. They went to the mosque. And we see remnants of that in the haram today. If you go to Medina and you go to Makkah for Hajj, the women are in the haram. But today we have in the mosque some Muslims who say women should not come for Jummah prayer. And of course they have a basis for saying it, because some of our medieval scholars say that. But the seerah of the Prophet, the events happening at the time of the Prophet, during the Hajj, the women go for Hajj. And in the Kaaba, they are there with the men. And some of you here maybe went for Hajj, and you saw that with your eyes. So these are some of the issues. I mean, I can speak for 2 hours again, but we don't have time. And I'm being signaled that time is running out. I can speak for 2 more hours on this issue. But I hope that I give you enough history, because I always like to contextualize things, so that when we look at the Prophet, we just don't look at it in isolation. These are just something that you read in yellow books, yellow pages, and it's just isolated. We have to relate the seerah to the present, so that Muslim men and women who talk to Americans, Canadians, and English women who are feminists, you can argue with them because you know your history, and you can relate to the concepts that are now. But if you just look at the seerah as something that happened 1400 years ago, and we just read about it, we mummify the Prophet. We don't want to mummify the Prophet and the Sahabas. We want them to be alive. We want them to be examples to us. But if you mummify them and you keep them in the past, then the Prophet is not alive. You put him in cold storage. Anything that you put in the refrigerator is frozen. We want the Prophet to be alive, so that his example is alive. And then we can challenge those people who are feminists. Some of them are lesbian and gay, who challenge the Muslims. And we can challenge them too, intellectually. But if we mummify the Prophet, we mummify the women who were with him, they can't speak, they can't talk. They're gone, but they are alive, because their example is in us. And this is the point I wanted to communicate. Assalamu alaikum.